Dub Nation, something huge is happening behind closed doors at Chase Center, and what I'm about to reveal will blow your mind. Picture this. A 22-year-old rising star suddenly deletes every Warriors photo from his social media. An NBA superstar's name is being whispered in trade talks that could cost us our championship core, and Joe Lacob is reportedly willing to break the bank one final time for Steph Curry's legacy. But here's the kicker. There's a secret power struggle happening between our owner and coach that could determine everything. We've got exclusive insights on Kuminga's cryptic social media moves, the shocking truth about why Giannis might actually happen, 5 game-changing trade targets that nobody's talking about, and the financial bombshell that makes this the most critical offseason in franchise history. The next 15 minutes will change how you see this team's future forever. Smash that like button because what you're about to discover has Dub Nation divided. And for good reason. Let's start with the elephant in the room, Jonathan Kuminga's future in the Bay Area. This isn't just about whether a 22-year-old forward stays or goes. This is about the soul of this organization and how they balance loyalty with championship aspirations. Picture this. You're scrolling through Instagram, looking for updates on your favorite young warrior, and suddenly, nothing. Kuminga's profile picture? Gone. Photos in Warriors gear? Deleted. Comments disabled. For a guy who's usually active on social media, this digital silence speaks volumes. It's the kind of move players make when they're bracing for impact, when they know the business side of basketball is about to get messy. But here's where it gets really interesting. Inside the Warriors organization, there's a fascinating power struggle playing out. On one side, you've got Joe Lacob, the owner who's never met a luxury tax bill. He wouldn't pay if it meant keeping talent. Lacob has been spotted courtside at Santa Cruz Warriors games, watching Kuminga develop, even showing up to summer league sessions. The man is invested, emotionally and financially. On the other side sits Steve Kerr, the championship-winning coach who's built his system around ball movement, basketball IQ, and veteran leadership. Kerr looks at Kuminga and sees potential, sure, but also sees a player who might not mesh seamlessly with Curry's championship timeline. It's not personal. It's basketball reality. The numbers tell their own story. Kuminga averaged 16.1 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2.2 assists last season. Career highs across the board. At 22, he's entering what should be his prime developmental years. But here's the catch. The Warriors aren't in development mode. They're in win-now mode, with Curry at 37 and father time knocking at the door. ESPN's Bobby Marks broke down the financial reality. Golden State will offer Kuminga a qualifying offer worth $7.9 million, making him a restricted free agent. This means other teams can make offers, but the Warriors have the right to match. However, most teams are strapped for cap space. The Brooklyn Nets, who seemed like the most likely suitor for a $25 to $30 million annual deal, have reportedly cooled their interest. This creates a perfect storm for a sign-and-trade scenario. Think about it. Kuminga gets his payday and a fresh start, while the Warriors get back assets that better fit their championship window. It's not about giving up on Kuminga, it's about maximizing everyone's potential in different situations. The most intriguing part? Sources close to the situation suggest Kuminga himself isn't pushing for an exit. There's no drama with Kerr, no locker room issues, no burning bridges. This is purely about fit and timing. Sometimes in the NBA, good players need different environments to become great players. What makes this decision even more complex is the recent trend of young players breaking out after leaving their draft teams. Look at D'Angelo Russell's career resurgence after leaving the Lakers, or how Malik Monk found his groove in Sacramento. The Warriors risk watching Kuminga become a star elsewhere, while they're left wondering, what if? Now let's talk about the move that has every Warriors fan either salivating or sweating. The possibility of trading for Giannis Antetokounmpo. When Jay Will mentioned this on air, you could practically feel the collective gasp from Dub Nation. But is this realistic, or are we setting ourselves up for heartbreak? First, let's address the elephant in the room. Giannis and Steph Curry on the same team would be absolutely terrifying for the rest of the league. Imagine Curry pulling defenders out to the three-point line while Giannis operates in the paint, with all that space. Picture pick-and-roll action between two of the most skilled players in NBA history. The basketball would be beautiful, but getting there requires some ugly financial gymnastics. The harsh reality is that 85% of Golden State's salary cap is tied up in three players: Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. To make room for Giannis's supermax contract, something's got to give. Bobby Marks laid it out plainly. You can't keep all three and add Giannis. The math simply doesn't work. This is where the conversation gets emotional for longtime Warriors fans. Draymond Green isn't just a player. He's the emotional engine of the Warriors' championship runs. He's the guy who turned basketball into an art form during those 73-win seasons, who anchored the defense during 4 championship runs, who held Kevin Durant and Curry together when egos could have torn everything apart. But Father Time is undefeated, and at 35, Draymond's best basketball might be behind him. His offensive limitations have become more pronounced, and while his basketball IQ remains elite, his athletic ability to guard multiple positions has diminished. Trading him for Giannis would be addition by subtraction, gaining a two-way superstar while maintaining the defensive versatility the system requires. Jimmy Butler presents a different challenge. He's only been in Golden State for 20 minutes, as one analyst joked, and he's still performing at an elite level. But Butler's also 35, and his playoff performances have shown signs of wear. The Warriors acquired him to be a bridge between their championship past and future. But Giannis represents a more sustainable long-term solution. The timeline aspect can't be ignored. If Giannis becomes available, it's likely to happen before the draft at the end of this month. That gives Golden State very little time to navigate what would be the most complex trade in franchise history. You're not just trading players, you're trading relationships, chemistry, and organizational identity. Here's what makes this scenario particularly intriguing. The Warriors have something most teams don't: 4 tradable first-round picks over the next 7 years. That's unprecedented trade capital for a team that's been consistently competitive. Most contenders are asset-poor from previous trades, but Golden State has maintained their draft flexibility while remaining in championship contention. The Western Conference context matters too. Denver has Jokic, Phoenix has Durant and Booker, Dallas has Luka and Kyrie, and the Lakers are always dangerous with LeBron. Adding Giannis doesn't just make the Warriors better. It potentially makes them the prohibitive favorite in a loaded conference. But there's another layer to consider: Giannis's own timeline and motivations. He's 30, entering his prime, and has already won a championship with Milwaukee. If he's going to move, it's likely because he wants to join an established winner, not start over with a rebuilding team. Golden State represents continuity, championship culture, and immediate title contention. If the Giannis dream doesn't materialize, the Warriors have other intriguing options that could significantly upgrade their roster. Let's break down the 5 most realistic targets and what each would bring to the Bay Area. Cameron Johnson, the Aussies. Perfect fit starting with the cream of the crop. Brooklyn's Cameron Johnson represents everything the Warriors value in a role player. At 6'4", he shot 41% from three-point range last season while averaging 16.5 points per game. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. Johnson moves without the ball like he was born into the Warriors system. He's got that Harrison Barnes quality, the ability to hit big shots without needing plays called for him, to defend multiple positions without being a liability, and to fit seamlessly into any lineup configuration. At $20 million per year, his contract matches perfectly with a Kuminga sign-and-trade. What makes Johnson special isn't just his shooting. It's his basketball IQ. He makes the right pass, takes the right shot, and rarely forces the action. In a Steve Kerr's system, where every player needs to read and react, Johnson would thrive. He's the type of player who makes everyone around him better simply by being in the right place at the right time. Jakob Poeltl, the defensive anchor Toronto's 7-1 center, represents a different type of upgrade. Poeltl averaged 12 of 14 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks per game while providing the kind of rim protection the Warriors have lacked since their championship years. Think about Golden State's recent playoff struggles. Too often they've been outmuscled in the paint, unable to generate stops when games get physical. Poeltl changes that dynamic immediately. He's not just a shot blocker. He's a smart defender who positions himself perfectly and makes opposing teams think twice about attacking the rim. Offensively, Poeltl isn't flashy, but he's effective. He sets solid screens, finishes around the basket, and has decent touch on his jump shot. In Kerr's system, where centers are often facilitators rather than primary scorers, Poeltl's skill set translates perfectly. Daniel Gafford. The athletic upside. Dallas's Daniel Gafford brings a different energy entirely. At $14.4 million per season, he's a bargain for what he provides. Elite athleticism, rim protection, 2 blocks per game, and incredible efficiency, 71% field goal percentage. Gafford's playoff performance alongside Luka and Kyrie showed he can perform on the biggest stage. He's the type of center who thrives in transition, finishes lobs with authority, and changes the game's pace with his athleticism. For a Warriors team that sometimes lacks that explosive athletic element, Gafford could be transformative. The challenge with Gafford is that he's part of a Dallas team that just made a deep playoff run. The Mavericks aren't looking to break up their core, which means any trade would require significant creativity and probably a third team to make the finances work. Coby White and Malik Monk, the playmaking options. Both Chicago's Coby White and Sacramento's Malik Monk address a similar need: secondary playmaking and scoring punch off the bench. White, at 25, had his best season averaging 19.8 points and 5.1 assists while shooting 38% from 3. He's young enough to grow with whatever direction the Warriors choose while providing immediate impact. Monk brings a different flavor: pure scoring ability and veteran experience. At $20 million, his contract works perfectly in trade scenarios, and his ability to create his own shot would give Golden State another dimension offensively. The beauty of targeting players like White and Monk is that they don't require the Warriors to mortgage their entire future. These are complementary moves that make the team better without fundamentally altering their identity. The wild card. Nikola Vucevic. Chicago's Nikola Vucevic represents the highest risk, highest reward option. At 34, he's clearly on the back end of his career. But his numbers are still impressive: 18 points and 10 rebounds over the past 3 seasons. The question isn't whether Vucevic can produce. It's whether he can produce at the level needed to make the Warriors legitimate championship contenders. Vucevic's defensive limitations are well documented, but his offensive versatility could unlock new dimensions in Golden State's attack. He can space the floor, post up smaller defenders, and facilitate from the high post. In the right matchups, he could be exactly what the Warriors need. Let's talk about something that doesn't make highlights, but determines everything: money. The Warriors are already deep into luxury tax territory, and every move they make comes with financial consequences that ripple through the organization. For years, Joe Lacob has proven he's willing to pay for championships. The Warriors' payroll has been among the league's highest for years, and Lacob has never blinked at luxury tax bills that would make other owners queasy. But even unlimited resources require strategic deployment. The second apron represents the league's attempt to create competitive balance by severely penalizing teams that exceed certain spending thresholds. For teams like Golden State, exceeding the second apron means restricted trade flexibility, limited free agency options, and reduced draft compensation. It's the league's way of saying, you can buy championships, but it's going to cost you everything. This creates a fascinating dynamic for the Warriors. They can continue spending at current levels for approximately 2 more years, the length of Curry's remaining prime. But after that, financial reality might force a reset. It's championship or bust, with very little middle ground. The Curry timeline adds urgency to every decision. At 37, he's still playing at an MVP level. But basketball careers don't last forever. The Warriors have maybe 2 seasons to maximize this core before age becomes an insurmountable obstacle. Every trade, every signing, every roster decision needs to be evaluated through that lens. This is why the Kuminga decision matters so much. If they believe he can contribute to a championship run in the next 2 years, keeping him makes sense. If they believe his timeline doesn't match Curry's, trading him for win-now assets becomes the obvious choice. The draft pick accumulation represents long-term thinking in a win-now environment. Having 4 tradable first-round picks gives the Warriors flexibility that most contenders lack, but it also creates pressure to use those assets effectively. Draft picks don't win championships, players do. So here's where we stand, Dub Nation. The Warriors are at the most important crossroads in franchise history since Kevin Durant's decision in 2016. Do they swing for the fences with a Giannis trade that requires sacrificing beloved veterans? Do they make calculated moves around the margins while keeping their core intact? Or do they begin preparing for life after Curry? The beautiful thing about being a Warriors fan right now is that every option involves genuine championship possibilities. This isn't a rebuilding team hoping to sneak into the playoffs. This is a championship organization deciding how to maximize their remaining window. I want to hear from you. Are you team run it back with minor adjustments, or team blow it up for Giannis? Drop a comment with your preference and tell me which trade target excites you most. Use run it back if you want to keep the core together, or Giannis or bust if you're ready for a complete shakeup. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. This off-season is going to be wild, and you don't want to miss a single update. The Warriors' championship window might be closing, but it's not closed yet. Let's see if they can squeeze one more magical run out of this incredible era. Strength in numbers, Dub Nation. Let's go Warriors!